welcome everyone. This is the closing ceremony of the 10th edition of the International Create Challenge. I'm very happy to be here with you and all the participants. It was really an intense week. Thank you so much for your hard work. We loved your commitment throughout the week. It was really great to have you. So you've been here with us. Okay, that's not the right... So you had an idea at the beginning of the week. Yes, you remember you had to pitch your idea for 1 minute in front of us. You spent 9 days working from that idea to your prototype. And today we're excited to see what's coming up with your demo. But now a word from François. Who is this guy?
Okay. So, merci. Well, I don't need the remote control, so as usual, it's an improvisation. But what to say? Well, 9 days. After 9 days, I think, as Emily said, it was a really nice week. We had a lot of fun together. I ran, for those who doesn't know yet, but we ran with some of you. We had some nice evening and so on, dinners together and so on, exchange of ideas and so on. So it was really great. But as I'm used to say, every year I say the same thing. It was a real friendly week. In 1 hour, I'm not sure if we will be still friends or enemies. Because after your pitches, we need to select one team to win this really nice check. Okay? And you are still happy, you have smiles on your face and so on. And in 1 hour, well, but please, keep the good mood and, and I hope you have enjoyed these 9 days as I did. And well, do your best. You have 7 more 5 minutes, 12 minutes to convince the jury. So we have here in the jury the same guys as we had the first day, but we have an additional one. I will just introduce him. This is Ricardo Gago from Venture Kick. And maybe you can just introduce in few words what is Venture Kick and what you expect from maybe from some teams or what you can offer to our teams.
Of course. Thank you, François. So hi everybody. I don't know, is it working? Yes. So hi everybody. My name is Ricardo. Thanks for the invite today. So I've been working for Venture Kick for the past 6 months. I started this in the beginning of the year. Venture Kick is one of the flagship programs from Venture Lab. As you may know, Venture Lab is one. Venture Lab has been supporting startups for almost 20 years from now. We have 3 main programs, which is the funding program, Venture Kick. We have another program which is InnoSwiss, which is a mandate we manage from the Swiss government to train startups and to better prepare them to launch their business and to grow also. And this we do by vertical, so medtech, biotech, pharma, advanced engineering, and also ICT. And then we have also another flagship program, which is the International Roadshow, which allows startups to go abroad outside Switzerland and potentially attract international investors into your startup. So this is for more advanced startups. So looking forward to hear all your pitches and to discover your projects. I also read it. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't see the progress for the 9 days, but
so thank you very much. And so only 2 things are missing on this check. The name of the team, the winner team, and my signature. So good luck, and we are really keen on listen to you. So let's go. And before the end, just to thank all our partners as I did the first day. So Venture Kick, of course, thank you to be here, and DDApp, and also
Yeah, so congratulations, you've made it. As François said, really, we're looking forward to your pitch, to your demo. But just before we start with the pitch and everything, let's do a big round of applause for yourself. Okay, because you deserve it. And now I just wanted to give the floor to Lara, because she's been your main host during the 9 days. So she has compiled a few pictures, and I just wanted to say.
And we loved that. Really, it was important for us to see your commitment, great teamwork, brainstorming sessions from the beginning, the first day. But then during the 9 days, we saw you were focused. It was incredible. And sometimes with a smile on your face, and sometimes even laughing in the whole oasis. It was great. So, of course, teamwork, but also hacking, of course. So in different positions, in different hour of the day, alone or in teams, it was intense, 9 days. But it wouldn't have been the same without activities. So yeah, gaming sessions, but also yoga session. I was spying them. I was like, are they really doing yoga? I cannot see. And yeah, they were. So thanks for having outdoor day, which was great. I think it was the first one for everyone, and we all loved it. So thanks for that. And, oh, c'est la vidéo. No. And food, of course, you know me for that, mainly, I know. People, when they're thinking about me, they're thinking about food. I know, we talked about it this morning. It's crazy, I'm like, are you hungry? Do you want something? The whole day. And yeah, the famous raclette, credited by François, he taught us how to, mainly also during the day after running sessions, and a good nutrition coaching session. So yeah, a few pictures. I don't have them all here, but thank you for this, like, say we will miss you.
Okay, we're done with the fun. Now it's the serious time. We are all here for the prize. We don't really care about participation, no. The best 3D picture and the funniest team picture that will be awarded later on. So, come on, are you ready for the final pitch? Yeah. Team is my linguists. So the one that will do the pitch, is it okay? So you just need to talk in the mic. Sorry?
Yeah, we're supposed to be team 3.
Team, no, you're team 1 on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has to connect his computer to the presentation.
Yeah, I have the
Okay. Tu cherches quoi?
That's one.
Ah, tu peux me prendre le piqueur? Ouais. And that's your mic. You need to talk into this for the YouTube live stream.
This way. It works this way. Should I start? Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm here to introduce My Linguist, an intelligent personal language assistant. My Linguist is a virtual teacher. It is designed based on conversational AI. So you learn by listening and speaking to your phone. Learning a new language is challenging. In-person learning is usually expensive. You need to do a lot of homework. It's also challenging to find a teacher. And also, it's not a good for a shy people. Learning using an application could also be boring because of some predefined lessons and because there is no teacher involved. You have limited interaction and personalization. And you usually they are usually focused on memorizing. That is easily forgettable. To address these challenges, we propose a virtual teacher that is fully interactive. So it provides personalized teaching materials based on your interest, thanks to the NLP technology. It dynamically generates contents based on the user feedback, so it learns your weaknesses. It also uses memory hooks to teach you new vocabularies, so there is no need for homework. This is how it works, our initial idea.
Bonjour, je vais bien.
Amande, prêt pour la formation?
Oui, commençons.
Les mots se terminant par IBLE et ABLE en anglais sont les mêmes en français. Par exemple, c'est confortable serait it is comfortable. Dis-le.
It is comfortable.
Bon, maintenant, vous dites, qu'est-ce que c'est acceptable en anglais?
So the user is hesitating.
Les mots se terminant par IBLE et
You provide
ABLE en
hints.
anglais sont les mêmes en français.
It is acceptable.
Bien fait.
Good. And how the
This is
personalization
Michael.
works.
Michael is an sportman who wants to compete in international competitions. MyLinguist teaches Michael English in the field of sports.
Pouvez-vous dire, c'est un bon match en anglais?
It is a good match.
Super.
This is Lara. Lara is a lawyer who wants to work in an international company. MyLinguist teaches Lara English in the field of justice.
Pouvez-vous dire, nous avons besoin d'un accord de non-divulgation en anglais?
We need a non-disclosure statement.
Vous souvenez-vous du mot accord en français?
Agreement.
Bien. Pouvez-vous dire, nous avons besoin d'un accord de non-divulgation en anglais?
We need a non-disclosure agreement.
Excellent.
So our solution composed of different modules. We have a client application, an application API that can handle user interactions using cloud speech-to-text and text-to-speech technology, and our dialogue management system, NLU modules, and the NLP modules. Our dialogue management system is based on Rasa. It's actually an open source application that can handle user interaction like in a chatbot. Our NLP module has two main goals. One is to keep track of the user progress, and the other one is to generate sentences based on the user interest and performance. We designed an application, a client application, and these are different stages during the development. Our idea starts in May. It's about how to teach a new language using conversational AI. Right after the acceptance of our proposal, we start defining tasks for the project using Jira application and to assign it to the teams. So during ICC, we more focused on the development of the NLU module and also how to integrate different ASR, TTS, NLP, and the dialogue management into one system. We plan to do more market research and design a business model after the ICC to develop a minimum viable product and support for various source and target languages. We also plan to improve the engagement using gamification or videos and images. Our team composed of scientists in speech processing, language processing, business, and software development. Okay, now I want to show you our demo. This is the application that we have designed, and it's now available on your phone. So every user needs to define the topic or the context of interest based on keywords.
Salut, est-ce que tu vas bien?
Ça va bien.
C'est génial, je suis heureux. Voulez-vous commencer à apprendre?
Oui.
Les mots qui se terminent par ANT et ENT sont identiques en anglais, mais on prononce la T à la fin des mots.
Starts teaching something first.
C'est excellent de voyager à vélo. En anglais serait.
It is excellent to travel by bike.
Répétez s'il vous plaît.
It is excellent to travel by bike.
Parfait. Pouvez-vous dire, la sécurité est importante pour les hôtels. En anglais?
So it is hidden, so we cannot cheat.
Important for hotels.
Réessaye.
So if he makes a mistake, it's decomposing the sentences into smaller teaching questions.
C'est juste. Comment diriez-vous, les ceintures de sécurité sont conçues pour votre sécurité, en anglais?
Seat belts are designed for your safety.
C'est juste.
Thank you so much. It was really a hard work doing every day during the ICC and also before the ICC. So I'm very happy that we could make it finally. So it was last night at 2 p.m. that we generated this demo. Thank you.
And the app is available for testing, if anyone.
Question.
What do you have to do to add a new topic? So here you have a list of subsets, right? Clothes
Yes.
and so on. So if you want to add a new topic, what do you have to do in the background?
So actually, at the beginning, the user is supposed to provide us with the context that he's interested. So we actually use keywords. We use vectors actually to find the closest vocabularies around the topics of his interest, and use all those keywords in order to generate content and new sentences. And these sentences are generated using a recent model by Google. It's called T5. We give it some keywords, it generates sentences for us. So actually, we handle this personalization of user interest based on keywords in that topics.
And later on, when you start using the system, are you going to further adapt to the user or not?
Yes, we do it. The adaptation during the training, is based on user feedback. So if he cannot remember words, we improve the weights, so the new sentences can use more of that words in order to generate a sentence. So it's called memory hook. So it reminds the user more often the vocabulary and the new sentences.
So the demo you have shown is actually working in real time, as it is there?
Yes, you can test it on your. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
So if I'm not wrong, you talk about gamification.
True.
Yes.
Mhm.
You talk about gamification to have the user more engaged and so on. So what you have in mind to?
Okay, I think for gamification is more good for like younger people, not for all, because we think that we can do in more advanced levels for teaching to improve people's proficiency in a context. So they have some proper knowledge of the language, prior knowledge. But for gamification, we can use the videos and photos inside the application. It's usually integrated. We can use also materials from the web. Anything can be done in this chat box.
Also, since the user just want to learn an exact topic, and we generate sentences exactly on that topic, so it would be less boring, and I think we need less gamification to keep user in that.
Mm-hmm.
So the very first time, also.
I would have liked also a live demo. Also,
Yep.
that would have been great instead of the video that show and demonstrate that the product works indeed. But I think that one of the main applications well known today is Duolingo.
Mm-hmm.
How would you differentiate yourself from Duolingo?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're a very early stage, but how would you monetize it after?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think for the applications like Duolingo, we have also saw many other applications using chat box and also with the speech. However, they do not provide any kind of personalized teaching. So there are static lessons that they are predefined, so they can the user just try to do that to improve the speaking by using those sentences. However, for us, it's actually based on a very famous methodology. It's called thinking methodology. It actually tries to let you think, and the materials are designed in a way that you can provide the response by thinking and based on the previous teaching materials. And this application is just based on speaking, in contrary to other applications that use different things. And yeah, it's actually a private teacher for you. So, and we include this app so the user can improve also reading, because he can read. And also we can later add some features for writing.
First of all, I just want to say that it's my fault if they didn't show a demonstration, a real live demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, with Wi-Fi network problem and so on, it's always better with a video. Anyway, my question is that it seems to me that it's quite interesting to start for someone that is already speaking a bit the
Mm-hmm.
language that he wants to learn. How do you think it will be suitable for someone who starts from zero? And how much approaches you would have to add to the current system to create a full experience?
I think for a person who is not actually do not know anything about the language, like myself when I wanted to learn French, I used the same methodology to learn. And I had a very good experience, and after listening to hours of the audio file, which this methodology provides, I could provide some sentences in French easily. So because I know English, so this methodology tries to teach you French based on English. So you are even the beginner, but it won't be more personalized because I need to teach you more small, very simple grammars and vocabularies at the beginning, so it could not be so much personalized. But yeah, after a while when you learn, so we can generate complex sentences. Yeah.
Okay, so you think this approach is enough to go for a minimal valuable product?
Yes, for minimum viable product, yeah. I think there would be some more work to improve it. The teaching material should be manually, some part of the teaching material are manual, so we need some expert in language, so can help us with providing some materials like grammar rules, everything like that. But based on those, we generate new contents and we teach the student.
So for a new customer downloading the application, what do they see first on their phone? So a newcomer, you know, what happens when you download the application? Does it ask you to for topics of interest?
Yeah, it's actually the same
to
demo.
bootstrap the system, right? You have to bootstrap the whole thing.
Yeah, true. We need a lot of work to have a minimum viable product, but this is whatever we had in mind at this stage. But I guess we can do it in a very short time because we have the expertise and we already done something.
Or maybe the app could go to your social network, you know, and try to dive into your social areas and make sense of your activities. And
true. And also for ASR, for ASR we have challenges because we use Google ASR and it's very costly, so it's not affordable for us. We need to have our ASR to design it for the minimum viable product.
You said the application was available. Is it only available for Android or
No,
Apple?
no, for all. We just build it on each phone if you request it. It lasts for like 5 days because we don't have the license on the App Store or on Android, Google Play.
But did you use some framework to do one time for all framework, all platforms?
Yes,
like
it's available for iOS and Android. Because we use Flutter is a high-level language that can provide you with both. Yes.
I know we are all connected these days, but in our countries it's okay, but in foreign countries or even in places in the mountains and so we are not. Are you planning to bring the whole software on the device and avoiding using connected to use it?
To have an offline one, right?
Yeah. To be independent of the network. Yeah.
I think for now it's not possible because we need to have a good ASR to detect whatever the users say, and integrating that in an application is challenging. So maybe in the future, but for now we need to rely on like cloud or servers to send the request, get the feedback. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation.
You're welcome.
And it's impressive to see the final demo like that. I think it's fine, but if we see as an entrepreneur to do a business like that, then still I'm afraid that there's almost 0% of success, simply because there are two strong competitors, Duolingo.
True.
And also the education, language education, it's really big market, and there has been long history of theories, education methods like that. So for you as a team, I think I'm afraid to say that it will be very difficult to make up the final product. So instead of that, can you develop a kind of a small module, kind of an AI system, thinking system, algorithm like that, and can you think of a kind of a selling those algorithms to, for example, to Duolingo?
Okay.
Can you think in that way? Is it possible?
Oh, okay. To be like a partner for them. Okay. We don't actually we don't know about what solutions they have because they recently developed their kind of chat box, and most of the you have a specific purpose to learn language, you may not go for Duolingo because it can also be boring, because if you are not like gamification, you want just to go and learn the language you need. So I have heard also about many people who did not or tried Duolingo, but changed to another applications. So it's not the proper solution for every type of people, I guess. So I did some research, I found like more than 30 different applications which are famous in the field of language learning, and each one has like some weaknesses, some and here is like I know about Mondly. It has even augmented reality, so you can visualize a person. We have also italki that finds you a person on the net online, so you can talk to. We have also FluentU that use movies, clip of movies, so to teach you English, a new language. So everyone has a different methodology to teach you, but our methodology is based on this two, which is language transfer and Michel Thomas, to teach you language. But it's like a teacher that teach you, but the other application doesn't. They provide you with images, description, you just provide an answer, fill in the blanks, something like this. But this is based on a teacher and a student that starts by a simple conversation and asks the user to repeat. So the way it works is you to pause the audio file and you repeat whatever instead of the other student in that classroom. So that idea crossed my mind to design a private teacher based on the conversation, based on the AI, because I think the future is on this conversational AI. And I have heard about many projects and applications that now replacing clients in many companies. You just need to call a company and the bot responds to you. So I think the future for chatbots and conversational AI is so huge that we won't have a problem with that. And our methodology is unique, and the novelty is on personalization that we have.
So you wrote in your slide that there is quite a lot of things to do from now until December when you want to have your MVP. Concretely, what will you do on Monday? You will take 4 months off of your actual work to work on the project, or you will work nights and weekends, or what is the
I will
plan of
take
the team?
1 week off to sleep. But afterward, definitely we work on the weaknesses that we have at the moment to improve because the codings were done in hurry, and we need to do reformat everything. We have this plan here as I described to design this minimum viable product by having an ASR integrated into the system and to make it more scalable to at least for a pilot customers, so they can test it and give us the feedback. And also we need to provide complete the materials of teaching. It's now very simple examples, but after we complete it, and I think it could be used.
My question was more, you intend to do that at the same time as your usual work as a postdoc? Or?
Yeah, my postdoc is finishing in less than 2 months, something like that. So that's why I'm really relying on your support, so I can fully concentrate on this project. Sure.
Question from Ricardo. I don't think I fully understand the business model behind it. Do you plan to launch a membership? Is it premium?
Okay, so actually our business model could be using some free trials so people can test if they like it, so they can have a subscription. So it's based on subscription. We can also have some fundings, because this is a kind of speaking and listening. So it's very good for blind people. So maybe we can have some fundings from those communities, also from advertising. Yeah, then so we need also some team for software development to improve it. Of course, we have at the moment, but I think we need to focus more on more experts. And also the IT infrastructure, if we want to run our ASR models, so we need some servers to run the software. And yeah, and the business operations, if you run a company.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any additional question?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Jury for mobile. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, next team up, Protect ID.
Yeah, we'll do the connection after.
Okay. And now
Just speak into the. You can clip it.
that's how. Wow, it's really strict.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Probably.
now it should work.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Baissez les stars.
Sarah only needs other microphone because she speaks too. So I think it's better to give you. Just tell her. Okay, let's go.
Hello everybody, we are here to present a Protect ID. I'm Hatef, PhD student at EPFL and also a research assistant at EDIEP, and Sahar, who is a postdoctoral researcher at EPFL. The problem that we are considering is the privacy issue in biometric recognition systems. The data which are stored in the database of such systems are very crucial and have very important information. And if a hacker could attack such system, they can use it to enter any other system. And indeed, the privacy of user is violated. Let's go in detail of what the problem is. Consider the general scheme of a conventional biometric recognition system. At the beginning, some features are extracted from the, for example, face. Then these features are stored in the database, and it will be used for the identification purpose. Now, consider the data which is stored in the database. This data is very important, and we will show you that this data is very important for the privacy. And if a hacker could hack, they can get the identity from those data. So let's do some hacking. To do this, we consider the most famous face recognition system called ArcFace, and we extracted some features from different people enrolled in a data set, and we tried to revert from these features which are in the database and generate the faces. You see the results. We completely could generate and invert from those features to the image of the person, and we indeed violated the privacy of these guys. To tackle this, there are so many regulations. Recently, European Union has announced the GDPR regulations. Also, there are some standards from ISO. And surprisingly, during ICC, we heard that China voted for the data protection during this time, and it will take effect on November 1st. So it shows the importance of this. About the market size, the biometric recognition systems are used everywhere. In particular, face recognition are the most famous one. And there's a gross annual rate of 20%, which is quite interesting as a business aspect. Now the solution. Sahar, please.
So what's our solution? Our solution is to protect the biometric templates before storing them in the database. So our service comes as a submodule called template protection after the features are extracted and before they are stored in the database, such that the protected templates does not have any identity-related information, even if the attacker could hack the database. So based on the ISO standard, there are 4 criteria that every template protection scheme has to fulfill. The first one is cancelability. Based on the design of our algorithm, these criteria has been fulfilled, and cancelability means that even if the attacker could get the protected template from the database, we can simply replace it with another one. The second one is reversibility, which means that we cannot revert the protected templates to the original templates. You can see here the distribution of scores for the reverted templates, and in this attack we assume the worst case scenario, which means that the attacker have all the information about the database, about the system, and also our algorithm. You can see the orange one is the reverted templates, which are far from the green ones, which are the genuine. And it means that we have no information about the identity of the persons in the database. The third one is unlinkability, which means that if we have 2 different protected templates from the same person, there should be no links between these 2 templates. And there is a reference paper to evaluate this criteria, and we use their framework, and we see based on our score that our system is almost unlinkable. And the fourth one, sorry. And the fourth one is the recognition performance, which means that even after we are protecting the templates, the recognition performance of our system should not be decreased. And here you can see the scores of the genuines and imposters after their templates are protected, and they are totally separated, which means that the performance is perfect. And you can see here that all of the ISO standard criteria have been fulfilled by our algorithm. And thank you for your attention, and please take care of your biometric data. And we also have an online demo
we need to show
that
what
we developed during ICC.
Where should I put it?
But you have the...
Oh, no.
Do you need it?
No. Thank you.
Let me just check if the mic is on.
You can check. Okay, for the demo, actually, as you noticed, the work of the service we have is the template protection, and it is a service, is a submodule that should be integrated in biometric systems. So to show how our service does not affect the performance. What we did was that we developed a face recognition system, conventional. There's no innovation from us. We just developed the UI and to show you it works, and we integrate our system in it. And now we can see that the system is still works, and we show that we have met all the requirements and protected the data. So there's two steps. One, enrollment. You can enroll somebody in the database. Will ask anybody who wants to come here to be enrolled in the database or be in the recognition stage. Okay, so before I enroll him, I want to show you that he's not enrolled yet, and the system should say that I don't know him. Sorry, but it should be. The reason behind the lag, you think it is too slow because we are running in a server, but we're connecting with mobile internet connection, and it's too slow. There was a problem in the connection here, and it is why it's a bit slow here. Okay, you are unknown to the system, you see. Now, let's enroll you. Okay, your face is detected. Would you please type your name?
Email?
No, it's fine.
We will get different pictures so that we have, for example, 5 or 6.
Almost one might work, but for sake of just to be sure everything is okay, we'll do this. And you should be the guy you said. It actually doesn't have this lag. It's because internet connection. It's actually a bit poor. Oh yeah, that's it.
Also, you can go there and look.
Yeah. I should be Hatef. Am I? Yes, I am. In this.
And this is
for those behind, it's written. The name is written. It's not supposed to change the color.
Yeah, the name is written behind it.
And also, this is the recognition that our protection has been integrated to. We also have the recognition which is unprotected, but this is with our work.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Thank you. Okay. You may need to give.
Thanks for the pitch. It was quite impressive to see this. Except during the pitch, we did not get what was your solution. You spoke about the problem, you spoke about the market size, and so on, but we didn't get really what you were trying to achieve or to develop. So this I would maybe just in a few lines, sentences, explain what you are developing, your USP. What is your USP? And maybe more a comment than I think you know, maybe François spoke about Key Lemon, which is one of the very first startups that VentureTech has financed in 2007, and they have developed a technology which was born here in IDIAP, which is face recognition. They have been acquired by EMS, and now we see this face recognition solution in every smartphone and consumer devices, and maybe check with them and create synergies on how do they protect this data, and yeah. And so does that mean that you can protect the data better than anything that exists today, and why?
Actually, the topic is quite hot and new. You see, even the regulations, the European regulation has been taken effect on 2018. The standard, the first standard which has been published by ISO in 2019, some 2 years ago. And I said, during ICC, we heard that China made the law. So the topic is quite new, and many systems doesn't have protection. I don't say every system, but many systems are not protecting the data and storing the database. So basically, the market is a bit new. Yeah. Yes.
And of course, there are other template protection scans, but analyzing the import criteria that are forced by the ISO standard is a little difficult because there's no general framework to support them. And there are some papers that have some evaluation framework, but it's not actually something that all these methods go and check. We have to do it ourselves.
Yes.
So, as we discussed after the first presentations you made earlier in the week, it was clear that you cannot give details to the audience about algorithms and so on, because if it's something that can have a potentially be patentable, it will be a disclosure. So it's why you are not giving details. But could you give us some hints about what you had to focus on during the week? Was it about the idea? You have to invent something conceptually? Did you have a lot of coding to do? Was it a lot of validation? What was the main tasks that you had to do during the challenge?
Yes, we have a slide for this. Just let me bring it. I will bring it. I disconnected alert. Okay. Do you want to say? There were different challenges we had in ICC. The first one was that we show everybody that privacy is very important and one can hack the system. So a big challenge of us was to hack a system, which is one of the most famous one and highly cited paper. ArcFace is very famous in face recognition, and to show the vulnerability of such system. One thing that we didn't do anything, and we started only for ICC from the zero, was to develop a GUI that you said. Everything, even we didn't do anything for GUI, it was my first time working with Streamlit. Thanks to lots of support from the technical mentors, William, Samuel, and Olivier. They helped us a lot to develop this. We also focus on our algorithm, as we also said in the first pitch. We came with our algorithm just a few days before ICC, and we needed to develop it, to code it, and to then verify everything on this. And we need to integrate it to the system and to show, we had some bugs there to make it work and to integrate, because it was our first time to integrate our submodule to existing system. And also, a very, very important and hard work that we did was to analyze the security and fulfill the 4 criteria by ISO standard that we set. Actually, for some of them, because as I said, the topic is quite new, there's no toolkit to verify and analyze this. We needed to innovate and do some attacks, consider the worst case scenario, and do something like this and this to fulfill the requirements.
Going forward with the same question, so you analyzed your method and you say that it's irreversible and that it's hack-proof. But have you a formal mathematical proof that it's indeed the case, or is it just safe until some skillful hacker can hack your system?
Yes. Talking about the second criteria, irreversibility, well, theoretically, no one can reverse our system or a module. It is proved theoretically, can be proved. because we cannot get the exact answer because the module is not irreversible. There are some transformations which are not mathematically, they are irreversible. So theoretically, no one can do, but in practice, maybe a hacker can guess and get an estimation of the answer. So it is something that we are working on, and this is the result of this. We consider the hacker have everything, the feature extraction, knows or algorithm, everything about the system. And we say that, okay, let's put us in the place of hacker and try to invert it and get some estimation of the unprotected templates with some numerical solvers and some complicated things. We try to solve it, but eventually the answers has, they are not correlated with the true answers. And here we have the green. The answer should be come and have zero difference with the genuine ones, but it is far away, so it shows that there's no identity information in the inverted templates, even if the hacker have everything. So it's the worst case scenario. Of course, with fewer data, nothing better than this.
Is it true that your solution that you propose there is highly, how to say it gently, is highly tuned to the face recognition algorithm? Or is it generic to any? It's not generic to any face. It's mainly face mapping, right? Face template mapping algorithm. Well, we are always talking about statistical modeling, and so this is not going to work for statistical modeling where we compute statistics over data, where we can adapt over to data. If we cannot reverse the model, we cannot even reverse it to adapt to more data, right? That's not going to work. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
If you cannot revert it, it's true also for the user himself or herself.
It's not completely related to the face data because it is a transformation that is done on the features. And these features are, for example, a 100-size vector.
Yeah.
So if you get, for example, your fingerprint or your vein, these are
as
all...
long as, if it is template matching kind of thing, right?
It's actually not related to the that is face or the fingerprint. It's just a template,
It's a template, yeah.
And we do some transformation on it. So
On the
that it
template,
is-
yeah.
So
So as long as it is related to template matching, it may work. It will work, I believe you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not going to work for statistical modeling or.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
But
as long as this is template matching, fingerprints, just one face. If you have two faces, I think it's getting more difficult already.
Because why two
What
faces?
do you do with well, you are going to store the two faces.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you are going to do, right? But you cannot compute averaging. You cannot compute estimate statistical models.
Yeah, actually,
in that
if you have
space.
different templates from one person, even if you have, for example, the face and other biometrics, we will store all of them.
Yeah. So I think it's a nice idea, right? But it's limited to one type of recognition technology. But that's okay, right? But
actually, this type of recognition is almost dominant type.
I believe you. I know, but that may change in the future. Yeah. But
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what the novelty of what you are doing is mainly the encryption that you put in between, which basically preserved the ability to do template matching.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
We also have some analysis we show that our scheme is also safer somehow, and also it's harder to attack comparing with other previous schemes. But for example, 2 times or 3 times harder to attack and get the results that I show you. But there are lots of details if I wanted to describe that. But we have compared also as well with other schemes. It is harder to invert. Yes, please.
You said that one of your first tasks was to hack the most famous algorithm. Did you do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, for me, it was really interesting that these are only 100 numbers, and it seems that it's not really meaningful. But after we did the hack and we used some deep learning models, we could actually, from those 100 numbers, we could get the face back, and this was really frightening, I think.
You know, these are real images. These are generated by us, and you see, if these guys are enrolled in a system, easily we could hack them. And if I wanted to describe further in details, not only we can get the privacy and know who is the person and the gender, the race, everything, we can also attack that system as well. You see here the score of inverted faces. When we give that to that system again, it can break the security as well.
Because it's just like the genuine ones.
Any other questions?
Yes, please.
What are the next steps for you? What do you intend to do with what you have developed? Will you go to a patent attorney? Will you have that checked by an expert? Or what are the next steps?
Well, actually, we have lots of discussion with experts in this field. Actually, even in this week, I have a long meeting with Therese and Marcel, who is my supervisor here, and we discussed lots of details of the protection and the analysis of this method that I described. It really helped us, and about the security analysis, I think we're in a good place. But patenting is a very important thing that we should, I think, said that we should put more information and continue on it. And we need to go to the market probably to see how we can integrate it with other companies. Of course, our business model should be B2B. We are not talking about customers. So yeah, we need to discuss in more details with companies and recognition and something like this.
I'm going to ask the same question again, but differently. When you designed, or you design it, or you pick it from somewhere, your encryption algorithm, did you have to understand how the recognition algorithm worked? You see what I mean? Did you have to pay attention to the recognition algorithm to pick the right encryption algorithm?
No, it's not.
No?
We do not have any information about the system. It's only we have the template and we do some transformation.
Independently of the recognition system.
Exactly.
And it's going to work for any type of, no, not any.
We have
You
some
don't know.
experiments also on veins, but our main
No, the
focus
algorithm, let's stay on face recognition. But there are many, well, you say that there is one.
We tested, it works. We have tested.
On more than one system.
Yeah, exactly. Several systems.
And do you have an idea why it is the case? Do you you understand it? You don't want to reveal it, but you understand it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You understand why it is so. Okay, thank you.
If I can explain more details, actually. For example, just put, because there are lots of details, and I can say something. Let me just talk about this, stick to this one. Here, the problem, the evaluation that we have is very strict. Yeah, you may think that these faces are maybe, we did some needs training and did on the same data sets and did something like this. But let me say that the face recognition has been trained on one data set. What we did for attack, we used another data set. And here, you see the third data set. So basically, there's no bias. There's no tricky things here. And it's absolute strict evaluation.
And you believe we are going to see the same behavior independently, well, across different recognition?
Yes, we have also evaluated on different databases and also different face recognition and
systems, algorithms.
Yeah.
Just by curiosity, to understand correctly. So you have protected the parameters of your authentication of the face and so on. And actually, at the end, if I try to hack the results, what will be the output? Just blur images or another face?
here, this is, yes, I understand. Here, this slide I think can help to answer your question. If the hacker have everything, it's really a hard hypothesis that a hard assumption that we have. If the hacker have everything, the inverted templates are far away from the identity. So even if they have something, that's not the guy, that's not the person.
It's not the guy, but what is the output? A blur image or something like a face?
Probably, it depends on the hack to regenerating the face, but if we consider from the same distribution of the faces, probably it depends on the generating the face algorithm. If we assume that from the same distribution, it probably gets a face, but definitely the face is not important.
But it can be tricky or ethically strange for me if you cannot detect the real face, let's say, but at the end you have a face that can be similar to another one. You know what I mean? Because it's a reconstruction of something, but at the end, you know?
But you can do it without those features. You can generate a random face.
Yeah.
It would be the same.
I'm just questioning. No, but this is a danger behind or something, you know?
Yeah, and to do it with your face.
No, with the Alfred face.
Maybe you will look like a Mickey Mouse or something.
Maybe it would have been interesting to see the same slides, the 2 rows, and the 3rd row. What will be the result of trying to generate a new face?
Yeah, that's a good analysis, but actually we didn't have much time for doing this. So. Yeah, that's what's really good thing to see.
Just a comment. It's a comment.
Yes.
It's because of Ricardo's first question. He said that you presented problem and how the solution works, but looks like many of us have some difficulties to understand. So because we have non-technical purpose.
Yeah.
So, but now I understand you have a kind of black box solution to solve the problem and intentionally did not explain. And it's okay, but if you present it clearly, this is how solution and this is a black box and we are not going to explain this. If you say clearly, then it could have helped us
Okay.
follow you.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thanks for the comments. Yeah, thank you.
Just a last consideration about, you explained the problematic of to manage the database and all the constraint that we have today also with the European law and regulation. But just consider that there are already some solutions on the market that just for decentralized authentication. For example, you have some device that store locally into the device the biometric data. It just do the match between the ID and the biometric data and just communicate with the central server that the authentication is okay. So there is already some response on the market that is coming to decentralize the authentication, not to store the database to avoid that some hacker can actually force some.
It seems like another completely different solution.
Yeah, exactly. It is a different solution.
We have a central database, and we're trying.
But it's a business approach, but for the one that want to keep the database, the centralized database, that could be a solution. Just keep in mind there are different approaches.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all of that. How does it work?
You can click it.
Like that, not too loud. And this I put it.
Yeah, in your pocket.
Okay. Yeah.
I included the demo into the slide.
Ah. Okay.
If it doesn't work, you can tell me.
Mhm.
And then there's 1 minute when I'll show you when there's 1 minute left. Okay. So you have your 5 minutes presentation and then the 2 minutes demo.
Yeah. We counted on that. Okay, well, I'll stand here, so I'm not in front of the slide. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm happy to. Oh. Whoa. What's happening with the hackers? Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Okay. So, second chance. So, yeah. Very happy to introduce to you our AI tool called Innovator. It's a data-driven innovation tool and a trend predictor. Let me first start by introducing our team. We're a very diverse team in many different ways. So I'll present all of us. So in the middle you see me. I'm a language processing expert. I've been in the field for about 20 years and now a group leader at IDIAP. We had Michelle for our business liaison. Prajit was working on the algorithms behind the program. There was Gloriana, our social media expert, and Yanis, responsible for our interface. We'd also like to thank our industry partners, and a special thanks goes to Merck, and thank you also for being here today. We've had a lot of valuable feedback from you in several different sessions during and a little bit before also the ICC started. We had a beverage and food company also giving us some feedback, and we had lots of informants and a lot of support, and I'd like to thank these people. I had an educational publisher I talked to, an information science non-profit institution, and I all talked about our product and whether they would be willing to use this and whether it would be useful. Also the ICC mentors and IDIAP technical staff, a lot of thanks goes to you. We had responses immediately when we asked questions, so very great. And Food Hack, of course, for giving us food all the time. It was really, really nice, and it will be hard to go back to normal life afterwards. So, yes, innovation is vital. There are disruptive innovations that wipe out entire businesses. We know that happens. So there's a need to innovate fast, ahead of competition. And out-of-the-box thinking is the one thing that's really hard to do when you're under time pressure. Also, consumer needs are so quickly changing, it is really scary. So, what if you had someone who could read all of your internal data, process all relevant social media content, discover trends, come up with new ideas, predict trends also for the future, and present all of that to you in a nice and orderly fashion, and if possible, by tomorrow? Well, that is something you really cannot ask from any of your employees. They would go crazy. So what is our solution? Our solution is an AI tool. It is based on cognitive theory. So what did we think? We think, how do people come up with new ideas? Well, they take existing concepts. For example, we have caramel. On the other hand, you have coffee. You know both these concepts. But bringing them together created something new, which was a big success for one of the companies that we are thinking of. So with computational creativity and AI, we have some additional thing. We can use a lot of data. We can use all of this data. Remember, everybody posts things on social media. There's lots of ideas floating around there, lots of people talking about different concepts. We can discover patterns there and find trends. But what's most important there, we're just not looking only at these patterns and trends, but we're putting them together to be able to produce new ideas and produce new ideas based on the patterns that we've seen before. And these new ideas might be things that humans never find. So we said our system, we would like to predict the future, right? But how can we say it's good in the future? We don't know about the future. So we evaluated it first on the present. So we said, let's pretend that we are at the end of the 1990s and we have to predict the new things that will come in 2010. So we trained our system based on the previous on the previous years, and then we evaluated it on the 2010s. And this system created for us, in the most recent test that we've done, it created for us a 90% accuracy. And here are some ideas that it came up with, yeah, that were new in the 2010s. Maybe hard to imagine, it seems so long ago, right? Oh, sorry. Shall I do something?
Wait, just a second.
Oh.
We'll close the time. I'm sorry for that. I closed the time, no worries.
Okay. Whew, I can breathe. Ooh. Yeah. Maybe I have actually. Wait, I have what's such a thing. How many entrances do you need actually? I have a really big one. No, I have, I think also. Do you have enough of the entrances? Otherwise, I have this huge thing. Yeah.
What do you have on the? Is it only HDMI or do you have USB? Oops.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay. Okay, back to it. So yeah, I was saying we can't really evaluate our system for the future, right? So we wanted to get an idea of whether what it produced was anything sensible. So we took the early times, till the 1990s, and then evaluated on the 2010s. And what it came up with were things like nuclear medicine, injection phobia, antigen PCR. Injection phobia was an interesting one for Merck, right? Maybe find other ways to administer medicine. Urban sustainability, for example. And a hop server. I thought it's nice to also introduce some technical terms here for the audience. And it actually is a type of server. I really had to look that up. Okay, so what do we want to improve on with our tool? We looked a little bit at what is there for other people to use. Well, one thing we want to improve on is team brainstorming. I don't know if you've been in a situation where you ask people for new ideas and everybody's like, oh, I have no idea, right? But we also want to improve on other types of tools that are available to people to improve over that team brainstorming. For example, social and media analytics services. They give you a very nice overview of what's happening and what has been happening in the past, where trends are going. The one thing they're not doing is what we're doing, and that is creating something new, right? They're just showing you the status quo, and it's great for you to look at that to get an idea, but we're actually combining the things and seeing the patterns grow and learn a model that is able to predict the next things that will come, new things. There's also innovation management platforms. These are platforms where people can input ideas, they link up with lots of external data and let people, you know, have creative ideas about innovation. It's really like an innovation platform. But yeah, they're still relying on people, right? And we want to help these people with lots of data. So what is our long-term vision? Well, our vision is that we want to be building creative systems. We want to use AI for this next big frontier, where people always say, well, humans are creative, but systems certainly aren't, right? We want to see how far we can get with creative systems. And we see a big market potential because the global computational creativity market is set to grow about 27%. And if you compare that to chatbots, 28%, it's very, very strange that there's so many people working on chatbots, but so few on computational creativity. So this is why we think we should be focusing on that. So last slide about our journey and the 9 days that we were here. So we started from an article that we had, Prajit, right, a few years ago, which was just a first trial. And then in these 9 days, I brought this team together from people from all over the world, actually. They came all to IDIAP, which was really nice to work with them again. And we built the user interface. We extended the algorithm, had the domain adaptation also introduced. Processed lots and lots of data. It was, I don't know how many servers in all different places we used, but it was still not enough. Social media data is really huge. So we pitched the demo, we built a business model, learned a lot from all the different workshops. But yeah, and we had a lot of fun. Don't forget about that. The colorful pictures are about the fun. What we would like to do after ICC is, integrate all that data, because we really process a lot of data, but we couldn't integrate it into the tool. And we would like to also then link it up to our interface and have a better experience for the user. And evaluate it with our business partners if possible, and we already have plans for that, right? Okay, that was it for me. Yeah, oh yeah, right. Yeah, we need some money, right, to do that. I almost forgot about that. I don't know what it is with researchers. Okay, thanks a lot for your attention. And yeah, we're going to look also at the demo. Yeah. Janus, maybe you want to, you know, it's Janus who was building it, so really credits goes to him.
Should I explain what's...
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah, why don't you do that? Yeah, better that you explain it, yeah. I can jump in if I want, yeah.
Okay, so is it working? Yes, you can see our tool in action. So you can see that you can change different domains. So depending on what kind of company you are, what kind of new ideas you want, what kind of domain you want new ideas for. The user is typing injection needle as an example, and yes, currently it takes a bit of time to crunch all the data and get inspired by all the data to get new ideas.
We had this running on a simple
yes, it was running on
right?
a laptop, but it can also, of course, run on a bigger server, and optimization. We didn't focus on speed of search at the moment, but of course it is always something that can be optimized pretty easily.
Yeah, I thought it was somewhere halfway that
yes,
it
was
became inspired.
It's not that long also. Exactly.
It's easy, honest, right?
Yeah, but it gives you a good idea how much data is processed, and then you get a nice network in the end. So injection needle is highlighted in the middle, and you get related terms that so related new ideas that our system generated, and you can click through them. So that it's new ideas and old ideas merged together, and we can actually get frequencies from Google that shows us how popular the term is becoming or not. So you can evaluate a bit. Is it actually a new idea that people are already talking about, and are they talking about related ideas or not that are already existing? You can also zoom out and zoom in into the network, play a bit around with it, and go from term to term. You can also highlight for other trends.
And you can also select.
You can also select how many terms should be highlighted, so you can focus on specific things. For example, you can just show it the frequency for injection needle and also for other things. And yeah, that's it for the demo. And
yeah.
Thanks a lot for your attention.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we made this demo. We recorded it this morning, right? So it was really just in time. 10 minutes before the deadline, the demo was done. So yeah. Good.
Great project, thanks. Very good project, interesting. Pretty sure companies, multinationals like Nestle, are willing to purchase something like this. I've been working there, just for you to know,
really?
on the 6th floor. It's only digital hub, and they're working on screening every single word that people are typing on social medias, and you see second after second which words is coming and appearing. So this is for sure a good tool for them to innovate. Yes. The question is, how do you need data for this? How do you collect the data from all the social medias? First question. Second question: how relevant are the combination of words for those companies? For example, if I put on together banana and Kit Kat, does that mean I need to produce banana Kit Kat?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'll answer first the first question: where does the data come from? And I would like to say, like, Gloriana is the one who was our social media expert, so she has worked a lot in her PhD thesis on social media, but for the health domain. So she told us that we should be looking for kind of, in our case we use Reddit because that's the only one that is accessible for us in this context. So we use Reddit as our social media source, and we checked certain subreddits and specific to the user. So we first talked to the two use cases that we had. We had two companies we talked to, and one of them said, medical domain, right, but specifically related to complaints. So we were looking at, what kind of complaints do you find in your company, and then based on that we also selected particular subreddits. That's how it worked for us, right? So this is about, but then we still got a lot of data, which I said was a problem for us. We didn't have enough servers to process it and then also to include it in our project. So you will see here, the data that we have here is not yet all of the data that we actually process. We couldn't really make the link to the demo. The other question you had was about, what influence does it have what you type, I guess, right? Because we showed that you had the domain, right? So you could choose your domain. So in case of Merck, it would be a pharmaceutical domain. So you can choose that. That would already select a part of the word space of this big network that we have with all the meanings of words, the novel terms, the old terms connected on the basis of semantic similarity. It would already select one part of that. And then the idea is when you type, you zoom into a specific thing that is related to it, but it doesn't have to contain the words. So that's the nice thing about it. So if you type in KitKat, you would also get Smarties, for example. So you could find the new invention of the Smartie cookie that way, right? Because you started maybe with KitKat, but it would say like, you know, based on the trends that we've seen, Smarties are much more in fashion than KitKat. So don't do KitKat cookies, but do Smartie cookies, for example. It would look at trends and based on those trends also make predictions for the future. But it is always a combination of words. We're really using the type of creativity that we call combinational creativity, which is one of the most used creativity that we humans use. It's really combining things in novel ways, yeah. Thanks.
Don't take it wrong, right?
Oof. Oh, that's a bad way to start a
But
question.
from a technology point of view, is there anything really new there? What would be new there? So I guess you do co-occurrence counting and
yeah. So the model, what is new?
Is there anything new? Yeah.
One thing, so you know that there's all these models right now, language models, building. It's in that same vein. What all these language models do not have, and we're always surprised they don't have it, is temporal information. So we have built a model that has temporal information because we need it, because we want to see trends. We tried without. In that case, we could have used the big transformer models, right, which would have saved us a lot of time, and we wouldn't also have to use all this temporal data. But we think that, you know, in order to predict for a company where things are going, you can't just say, let's put all the data on one heap. We have to look at timestamps. So that's I think
that's good to emphasize in your pitch, maybe in the future.
Right, the temporal aspect, yeah.
And talking to, I am very interested in the topic, as you know. So talking to potential customers, very often I see that they would also be interested to be able to focus in and out in that huge graph.
Yeah.
Say, oh, I would like to see a little bit more around those two things there.
Yeah.
Can you give me more details? Or I would like to zoom out and just see the major trends, right?
Yes, that is something. So when we had thought about this interface, we had also the idea of having color codings, having some things bigger than others. For example, then if you zoom out, you only see the most important things. Yeah, these are things we just didn't get to.
You can see
yeah.
highways between cities.
Exactly. Yeah.
Streets between villages and things
yeah.
like that, depending where you are and what you want to do.
It's definitely something interesting we wanted to do. The other thing we wanted to do, which we didn't get to, is getting people the context, right? Because it's very interesting. I mean, you see a new idea that the system came up with, right? Why did it get to that? And what are the contexts that were interesting for the system? So going back to a social media comment that somebody posted maybe. Yeah, so that is really important. Also, we talked to the person for IP and we said, oh, but it was actually based on your, Joel used you to ask me, like, what if your system comes up with a great invention? Who has the IP?
Exactly.
And I said,
one of those nodes, nothing happens, I guess, right now.
if I click.
Blue node. Can you go back to the information that generated that node?
No,
not yet. I think that would be interesting, right now.
Yeah. Because we need to know if somebody mentioned that in what context. If they explain the whole idea, then maybe you have to, you know, the IP is theirs. But if they just said a random thing and it's not described, you can use the idea. So it's
kind of backtrack back to the information that generated the
yeah. That's really important. But yeah, it wasn't possible in 9 days.
Potential, right? This is huge fun.
Yeah, it was very much fun. We had to laugh this morning. Although we were very stressed, we saw some examples it came up with and we're like, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you will not see these questions coming. When you are producing a lot of information that you have to show to the user, at some point you have to filter down the things to show relevant topics. So the whole idea here is to think outside the box. So to present things that are new, disruptive, and so on. And if you have to filter down, you have to use weights, basically.
Yeah.
And in this kind of way, you are not thinking outside the box. So how did you manage, if you did, to cope with this?
We didn't manage in the interface, but we have a way of doing it as soon as we manage to. We just want to have a slider. So what we want to do, so what our system does, it gives a plausibility score. So a kind of, do I think this is really a good idea or not? And we can put that score to being, it being very certain that it's a very good idea, or being less certain. And we were thinking of having such a slider, or having maybe some the novel terms that are that's more sure about. It will be like bigger, for example. And that way you can let the user decide how much he wants to, be inspired and freewheel, or maybe he's very pressed for time and just wants to hear the most plausible ideas, and so that the user can decide. That was our idea. Did you have anything to add to that? No?
We also have like the links between entities to show, like, let's say 10, 4 to be the highly plausible ones, 3 to be not so plausible, and 3 which the system thinks is not plausible at all, because sometimes those are also interesting, but the system thought the combination was not good. But it's always good if the user wants to see outside the box, it would be these not so highly rated combinations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a second question. So how big is the work to add new domains? Is it just a button you have to push to retrain things, or is there a lot of behind the scene work to do to add, I don't know, sports, arts, new domains?
It depends. So we have actually 2 ways of doing that, and it's also how we thought about, the steps of how we approach this idea. So on the one hand, you could get new data. That would take more time. So if your user comes and says, I'm in the medical domain, we have already gathered lots of data in our general domain system. We can still let the person type in a word, and it would show that part that's relevant for them. But if we want them to really, imagine that it's like the medical domain where we want to have PubMed abstracts, this kind of thing, we would really need to add data. It takes a bit more time, so it depends. So on the one hand, there is already something there. So we were thinking also, when we would, give this tool to users to use, we could say you could have 2 kind of subscriptions, for example, if we do a direct marketing. One is where you just use a tool as is, and it comes with a lot of data, but it's not specifically tailored to your specific environment. That would be just typing and going to the part of the network that is already in that domain that you're interested in. If you want it to be really for a domain that's very specific, you want all kinds of jargon and all kinds of specific text, we would need to go and search for those texts on social media, for example, with the new subreddits, for example, or new keywords to find relevant data. It would take a bit more time to get the data, pre-process it. But actually, the pre-processing, everything is there. It's just that the servers, we didn't have enough powerful servers, so it was going slower than we thought, right? Yeah, so if we have enough resources, I think it will be not something that's difficult to add. Just find new data and add it to the system.
Are you all 5 working projects? Yes?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Will you be 5 co-founders of the future?
We didn't think that far. It was a bit, I just gathered all the students that I used to work with that also work with me now, still in their evenings to do interesting stuff, right? And I thought, let's bring them all here together. It's nice to work together. And Michelle was very nice. She's a master of AI here at IDIAP, and she had very good connections with industry. So we said, well, let's have her also on board. And so, yeah, we're like people coming together like that. So I don't know. We haven't thought about that.
So what skills do you require now to further develop your project?
Well, I don't know.
I would say skills, we can handle it. It's just resources.
Yeah.
Like servers or something to handle the huge processing of data.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, of course, it will always be helpful to have skills, but at least based on this idea, we were just hindered by resources.
Yeah, that was our main concern here. We're really diverse in what we do, so that's good.
Can sponsor the project.
Oh.
In most of the startups we see at Venture Geek, they have a very good tech project, but then we see a strong lack of business skills in the co-founding.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's good.
That's really
we've learned a lot, but I think that the first day when we were talking and I think that Gilles, you were presenting yourself and you were talking about all these acronyms like USPs and MVP, and I was like, oh no, where did I start? But I mentioned some of them in my slides, so we're getting there. But yeah, we're not business people, none of us, right? Yeah, Michelle maybe, right? We would be the most businessy of all of us.
At least with Meg, I think I understand well the domain now, and I also have a technical background with AI, so I'm good to make this liaison between the two domains. So
yeah, that was definitely good. She really has a feel for how does it work in a company when you have AI, you have all kinds of solutions with AI, but can the company really use it? And problems with data also we had, right? As we were saying, it's not always easy to use the internal data. They were only on her laptop, for example. So yeah, so she knows about these things and that we hadn't thought about. So yeah.
The aim for you is as soon as you have like a sort of MVP ready, to go talk to customers, potential customers, and try to get those letters of intent, which show that as soon as your tech is in the market, they're ready to purchase it.
Oh.
So letter of intents,
strong
commitments from potential customers
Mm-hmm.
that are willing to buy your
Okay. Yeah, I had not thought about that. We've also talked a bit with Gilles, right, about possible ways of business models, and you were mentioning maybe also business to business, where there were these innovation platforms. Maybe they would be interested to incorporate, but then on the other hand, you don't want to go too soon to those people. If you have something that's already being used, they're much more willing to, I guess, invest or give.
Of course, it's very early stage.
It's very early stage, yeah.
Then you need to refine your tech, your product, and then your value proposition also, your customer segment also.
There you have all those terms again, yeah. Okay, great. I'm sure I'll find support also at IDIAP. I'm very happy to be here, and I think there are lots of people too in the neighborhood nearby to help. So that's great, yeah.
Just to have an idea of the accuracy of the system, I've got two questions. So the first one is, did Innovator came out of itself or not?
The name! No. That was all human-based, yeah. But it's true that when we thought about taking part in we had first the idea of a name generator who would create names for companies, for example, by putting things together. And but in the end, we didn't go for names. We went for real inventions or new ideas. Yeah.
And so, second question: what are the next innovation trends? What are your first results?
Yeah. Well, there you have us, because as I said, we evaluated it up until the 2009. So we don't have the next big things yet because we didn't have data yet. We really are. I think now it's
money for servers.
Oh yeah, right. We need really more servers. I'm really happy that all those universities that you work at didn't see that we were actually using all their resources for this. But yeah, we didn't include that data. So I can't tell you what are the next big inventions. But yeah, come to us in maybe a few months.
But you keep it for yourself.
Oh yeah, I can pretend that, but it's not true.
Yeah, just a consideration, and so just final consideration. I think that there is a lot of potential behind this project for sure. It also was a pleasure to collaborate. Actually, thinking about the business case and also some potential future development, I think there are some functionality that needed to be added. So there is some development behind. I think the explicability that we talked about before is very important.
Yeah.
To talk to people and to talk to business people, of course.
Yeah.
But actually, also there is some relationship that need to be installed with the business or with the market and with the industry to understand how is the direction. Just for our business case, we just for your information, we propose a topic that is a very bad topic. It's the worst that you can have. It's complaint. That's for medical. It's the worst that you can have. And say, look, this is a very pain point. Just do whatever you want, but give us some idea to manage this kind of things. There was some nicer topic, for example, I don't know, think about a new medical device or a new
Yeah.
medicine that can have a revolution tomorrow. That will be much more interesting. But we started from, I don't want to say worst case, but very bad case. So I think there is a lot of potential. But again, need to be more functionality and also to continue to talk with business, because I think business analyst is very central topic to give improvement of this tool. So just a general consideration.
Yeah, definitely. That's in the beginning we had a lot of talk about where could we use this tool in your environment, right? And it wasn't so easy. But then we came up with the complaints, which was probably the best solution we could find. But yeah, when I first talked to you, I didn't know exactly what you were doing. I was hoping that maybe I could help you think of new types of medicine or new types of packaging. Yeah, that is maybe something possible. But yeah.
So when you mentioned the 1.5 terabyte of data, was it driven by the customer or not? Or did you choose those?
No, those is that's from social media. Most of the so we have the Google Books corpus, which is timestamped, but it's just books. And I don't think in books the most interesting things are happening. Really, innovation takes place more in where people talk to each other. So that's why we wanted social media. But we had both, and both of these sources were problematic.
If I were asked to build such a system, what I would do intuitively is that from those keywords there, I would call Google, and look at all the hits and download all the documents written by Google, and then start looking for co-occurrences and so on.
Okay, go through search.
The entire set of documents written by Google based on those two keywords.
So those usually, like, there's always a lot of literature on finding co-occurrences between words, but it's a bit harder for 2 words or even, if possible, more words. So for this, we had to make a system differently, where it always was tagging for now 2 nouns together and what was its context. So BERT also would not do that. It will give you just parse a sentence and you can get some representation also without time. So that's why we had to use initially Google Books, which is from 1800s to 2000, and for each year or each decade, find the representation, and hopefully it helps.
But maybe you can use a little bit of both at some point.
Yeah, that's something that we could maybe combine. Yeah, it's true.
Okay. A lot of good ideas there.
One thing could be also in open innovation platforms. There are open innovation platforms which are dedicated to innovation, and there are lots of data.
And you were saying that they are really now growing, right? Yeah. So it's maybe the right moment. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Thanks for all the good ideas. Yeah.
Oh, il faut encore le dernier.
François just left for 2 minutes, but then we can start. We can already install and take the stage. On vous applaudira quand il arrivera. Ça, on lui mettra la honte. Donc vous avez le portable. François, t'as besoin de mettre ton ordi quelque part?
Ok.
Du coup, non, on a fait les 3, donc je vais faire les 3.
Je te dis quand il reste 1 minute, mais comme j'ai été monstre, on va être tout nul.
Ça marche. Pour le lever peut-être. Moi je lèverai plus simplement les objets.
Hello, everyone. We're AI CI Demo. I'm Michael Liebling. François-Marie.
I'm Florent.
And I'm Cindy.
And we want to build an interactive museum installation to demystify artificial intelligence and computational imaging. When you take images, are you the person on the left taking selfies of yourself with a DSLR? Probably not. You're taking your cell phone, right? They're just as good nowadays. And why are they so good? Because they're packed full of computational imaging and AI. And it seems innovation opportunities are just endless. Does the fact that not everybody knows that these little things are packed of AI matter? You might think no, but actually big decisions loom over AI and everybody will have their word to say. Well, every time we go on a website, we have to decide whether we're giving away our data. We'll have our cell phones where you have to set tracking and privacy. We'll be probably debating on new legislation and voting. So are we really in a place where we can have a constructive dialogue? So we think we're not yet ready, and this is where we come in. We actually want to provide an instructional demonstrator so that we can actually look under the hood of AI and incidentally of computational imaging to make it understandable to a broader set of people. And in particular, we want to actually really take people, and this is our challenge, take them into collecting data, and not just any data, but the right data, annotating it, training a machine, and eventually building trust in the machine or calling out the fakes. So first step, AI needs lots of data, right? So let's just collect data. So just any data. Actually, we'll focus on 3 things that are important that, okay, in our case, it's going to be, we want to take as many images as possible, but also we'll need diverse subjects, and we'll see that we also need to properly annotate them. Eventually, we'll want to show how you train a machine, that this is not just some black box magic, which we often hear people say about AI. And then eventually, once we have something, a system that actually works, a system that actually produces great images from what appears to be very small little cameras. So when should we be wary? When can we trust the images that we have? So let's just take everybody to school, right? Well, probably, not everybody's going to be happy to be in a classroom, or also the people who might need it most, the elderly, might not actually be so much into technology, so we're maybe not going to build an app. So what are we going to do? So we want to reach as broad as possible as a population, so we decide to actually team up with a place that does exactly this, and it's a science museum that has been very successful at creating interactive and multisensory exhibits, and will be part of an exhibit that will start in 2022. And we've also, we're not going to do it alone, so we've enlisted 6 other groups at IDIAP to actually also make some demos, and we've been granted some support from the National Science Foundation to at least partly do this. So we still need your support, and the main reason is that it might just be a demo, but at the end of the day, it's the same hands and the same people coding things that have to be just as good as if you're actually developing a regular AI software. So what you get in exchange, obviously, there's some high visibility branding opportunities, but also make sure that you prepare your customer for the future when you come up with your new innovations so that they're actually informed about what's AI and whether they should fear it or whether they might actually be able to adopt your new technology. And eventually also, ensure continued trust in AI development. So why us? I've been doing research and teaching for a very long time. So I gathered some information on how to actually convey complex information to students. So it's François, who's my lead teaching assistant, and also we have some great team of developers and AI enthusiasts. So we're actually going to go right into our demo. So AICI demo, it's AI and computational imaging demystified. Thank you. So the first thing we actually did was to build a device. And okay, in a museum, obviously you're going to have a huge. We're going to have a room probably. Right? So we build it small, and this is going to be essentially what we're going to do is we're going to acquire some images of real objects. We're actually going into the thing. So this here is our very. You'll see it's a camera, right? But not a very good one, unfortunately. And those are our objects, right? And we're going to be able to place them on this rotating device here so that we can take good pictures of them and eventually take lots of pictures and train an actual AI so that we can get better pictures. So I'm just going to put those pictures on here so François will be able to take over from here.
So as Michael just explained, I'm going to take you through the different steps that the prototype of the demonstration contains. So just a brief reminder, in the first step, we want to introduce people to the concept of building a database. We want to show them that it costs time, it costs resources to build a database, and that you need it to be quite big and also quite diverse. And in order to do that, we will have them take their own pictures, and they will need to make as many images as possible, but also they will need to think about taking images of different objects, otherwise they will not be able to train a good model. So they will have this small interface in which they can start taking pictures with the bad quality, but they also need to switch to a different object and take pictures of a second object in order to build a more diverse database, after which they will be rated. So here I've been taking images of different objects, so my data diversity is quite good. But since I was talking, I didn't take a lot of pictures, so I can see that my database is probably not going to be big enough to train a good algorithm. And this is going to be propagating to the next steps so that the users at the end will see how good or how bad an algorithm can be trained regarding how well they've been doing in the steps. So the next step is, okay, now I have my data set, but we all know in AI, one very important step is to label our data, because we cannot just take any data and train it. So
we took some good pictures with this camera.
We took some good pictures, but we don't know which ones are paired with which ones. So the first step is going to say, okay, so we have this bad picture in the top. Okay, I think it looks like a cube. So I'm going to say, okay, this is probably the cube. I was correct. On the second one, I might be not that good. That was the other cube. And so they will need to do that for the different images that they've been taking. As you can see, I'm quite bad at it because I was very slow and I make mistakes. So it's, again, to show how quite time-consuming and resources-consuming it can be to make your data set into a labeled one. So the next step is actually going to be training our model. And unfortunately on this one, the model is still currently training as we're talking. So I cannot show you the final result. But the idea is going to be showing them that the model is a set of parameters that are automatically trained in an iterative way. And they will need to tune themselves to parameters according to the instructions given by the calculations. So we will see here basically the input image, the target image, and they will be able to compare it. And the gradient descent algorithm is going to tell them, oh, you need to rotate this one or this one in order to train your network. So then they can basically rotate the different steps and make an epoch. And at every epoch, they will converge more and more. And at the end of the algorithm, they will be rated on whether they have converged close to the minimum or not. So obviously here, I don't have the minimum yet because the network does not exist yet. So I cannot be rated yet. And finally, once they've trained the network,
they've had the database, they've had the labeling. Now what we want to show them is whether their algorithm is actually performing well or not. So this will be the fourth step, in which the user will be able to basically position items in front of their camera once again, and they will be able to take a picture. So you can see here, this is the bad quality picture that we've been taking. So again, this is not running live because we don't have the network running on my laptop. It's not powerful enough. And they will be allowed to use their own network. So you see, I've been training my network. It's doing okay. Well, you can see it's still blue. It has a hat shape, but it's quite distorted. So we could try it on something else again. I want to try it on a red cube. Okay, I see the red cube is kind of cubed, but still has a bit of blue, so maybe not the best performance ever. And well, that will of course depend on how good they've been at the game. But then there is one thing we do not allow them to, is to use the small cheese. And the small cheese is going to be useful to show them the limitations of AI. To tell them, okay, AI can be quite powerful. You can make really good images from really bad images. But AI sometimes can also be wrong. Sometimes if you put a cheese in front of it, it will think it's a hat because it has never seen a cheese before. So that's one of the things we also want to illustrate and show people what they can trust in AI and when they also need to think about whether they want to trust it or not. So thank you very much for your attention. This concludes our presentation.
Very good for a museum. What's the business model behind this?
So what I'm hoping for is probably, I personally, this is more personal. I think we're getting good support, and I mean, appreciate that. But I actually think that my slide that was kind of trying to scare you, I think it's actually something that's real. I think we're probably going towards if too many people are going to be scared, we're going to end up with a very, very regulated environment where it's going to be very difficult to actually do innovation in AI. And so this is why actually this it's a true mission to actually explain to people, teaching so that people actually understand they're not afraid. It's another tool I think we should use and we should, but also of which we should, we shouldn't get fooled by people, selling us things that are too good to be true. So.
I think it's a very important question. What kind of cheese will you use? Will it Gruyere or Emmental? Or Gruyere with holes?
We were actually more thinking of Bagne 4.
All right. Now for the real question, is it supposed to be running on its own without any help, or do you think someone will be there to take the hand of the people, to help them to understand? Because I mean, it is also kind of an iterative process of understanding this. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you will do right, you will get good scores, sometimes not. So if you don't do it a lot of times, you will not understand fully what you are doing. So will be someone there to explain these kind of things?
So yeah, at the museum, no. It's going to have to be a standalone system. So the planning from here, okay? We're going actually to take this a little bit further until the Portes Ouvertes. So please come back at the Portes Ouvertes and come look at it there. There will still be around to actually guide people so that they get an experience and a little bit of feel. But I think we'll also get a better feeling for things that really we'll need to, the key facts that need to be in our game so that people can actually move forward. And also to see that they're not all of a sudden blocked because they have taken too bad a data set. Or maybe that at the end, we might let them, tell them, oh, if you had done this, this is what you would get. So we could actually, at the very end, they would be able to try out different scenarios. Had you trained your data set on all the available data, you would have been able to reconstruct your hat better. So I think, yeah, there's going to be, in terms of the feedback, maybe what you might not have appreciated is actually that figuring out how variable things are, those are those things that we can actually detect right from the images. It's not very hard, but I mean, so I think in terms of the feedback, and very often we forget about that, but giving feedback, we could do it based on the, we can definitely do it, and I think we should. It's a very good point. Yes?
Sorry, I don't know your name. Hervé. So I think I like Hervé. Sorry to insist, but I'm not sure I am the only one. I had a pretty hard time to understand what exactly is the business potential of your idea.
So okay.
So maybe better emphasize at the beginning what exactly is your solution technology. So you're targeting museums, correct?
We've already actually targeted very specifically.
Museums, and how do you help them to achieve their ultimate goal? What is their ultimate goal?
Yeah.
Is it to create a data set?
No. Their mission is to actually disseminate information about science.
Okay.
So we're using them as a tool there.
Okay.
In terms of an investor, I mean, I look at you as an investor. I think you're in trouble. I think you're in trouble because in a few years, I don't think you'll be able to just, collect everybody's data. So if a company comes to you and says, all this innovation is going to be just killed. So I think this is why I think to an investor, I would really tell, look, we're obviously doing, you're not going to earn millions with us, but I think you'll need to support efforts that actually help to disseminate, because eventually you're going to be the ones who really actually will also get the rewards back through your own products. I think we indirectly also will support your own products. So.
Anyway, great enthusiasm, great tech projects also. So yeah, better clarify the business of your project.
Fair comment.
How far are you from the final level for the exhibition? And what
we would have needed a half an hour. No, I think there's two things. One thing is going to be scaling and actually having the scenography. So this is we want to actually take this to the museum and tell them, look, this is our idea. And they're going to say, look, this part is not going to work in the museum, or this part is going to work, and actually also scale it up, so that actually we have something that people will flow to get the flow right. Until the 10th, really, I think the only thing that is missing is the training. I mean, obviously, still takes a lot of time. So we will show people, so this was a hard rule that we said, we're not going to fake everything. We're actually going to show people models that we've trained on data that they could have acquired. That was a very important red line that we did not cross. And so we collected that data, and it's training as we speak, really, right now. So I think it's probably a matter of days or weeks. I mean, better be. Thanks.
Without ICC, you would have done something like this, because it is something that you have to do anyway. So do you think that ICC helped you to do something different? Do you think if you had to do this work outside without ICC, you would have done things differently?
I think, the very first day, I think, and I really like that, because I came here, I'm thinking I'm not doing any business. Right? But I still challenged myself, and I asked myself, okay, why we're doing that, and is there any value? Is there value in what we're doing, also for business or for investors? And actually, the more that we've actually really tried to just think about these things, I think I'm actually pretty convinced that we have a very important mission to get the word out about AI. That it's not evil, but what are the things that we need to pay attention to. So I actually very much enjoyed the experience, and maybe next time it's going to be a different idea that's going to be in a business. once everybody, you know, the entire population is going to be convinced that AI is legit.
I was very, very skeptical also at the beginning, but you kind of convinced me that museum, technology museum and so on, they may be willing to buy this kind of thing. They have to, you know, it's a kind of training, teaching people about the limitation of AI, the reality of AI, and that's part of, well, that's a kind of vehicle between us scientists and the world to tell them about what it is actually, right? They are also teaching architecture, paintings, technology. So it's really good to have those type of demonstration in museums.
Actually, not only in museums.
No.
We struggle in companies when we introduce AI, the technological side, to explain that to the business guy, because they are afraid, of course. AI will take away our jobs, etc., etc. So I'm pretty sure the way it has to be formed, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it could be a business in terms of education and gamification and things like that for companies, not only for museums.
Thanks.
Universities, you have a bright future. AI master students, François. AI master students.
Yeah. Sure.
So you said you are together with some other research group at
yes,
IDEAP
actually we
doing
have five more groups. So social computing, biometry, Sébastien Marcel. We have robotics with Sylvain Calinon, speech with Phil Garner, and who am I forgetting? Am I at 6 already? I think I'm at 6.
The idea is each one of this group will do similar demonstration or similar.
So I think similar type. I think each one of them will essentially deliver one message, either an area or maybe one message that I think the exhibit is going to be really broad. It's going to be also questioning, you know, what is intelligence in a broader sense. But you know, on our side, obviously, I'm doing imaging. I love images, and so I'm okay. AI and images, we bring them together. But yeah, it's going to be broader, and so I should say, in particular, you know, the funding that we got from NSF is for this entire group. So we're 6 together there.
It's going to run for a year.
So it's going to be 1 year, yeah, starting in February of next year.
Successful, we go for a road trip across the world. Without the RoboCat.
We can take one last question, and then I suggest we break out. Wait.
Maybe just the last one. I'm curious, but probably the user in the museum won't use a computer. You need probably to set up a type of buttons.
Yes.
And, is it costly to put this in place, or?
So actually the way we've designed it right now is already thinking about the fact that in the museum we want it to be as tactile as possible. So we think of big buttons, actually having a camera that you can look around, being able to touch the object, rotate them, look at what's actually happening. So in terms of interactivity, it's already all made to be compatible with this kind of interaction. Now the main thing that we still need to make is going to basically build the thing more basically very robust. I think this does not survive 2 days in a museum, and also bigger, and basically still refine a bit the interfaces to make it as clear as possible to the users, and to let the message go through without even them realizing that they need to think about it. We meant to make it feel as natural as possible. They go through it, and in the end they're like, oh wow, now I kind of made my own AI. So that's what we still need to.
But so yeah, maybe to answer the question about, you know, the ICC, I think we've been very lucky to have the mentors around to actually. I think you were going to go in one direction, and I think you know, to not name one of the speakers, Samuel, you know, certainly guided us into a slightly different direction where we revisited the way of building the architecture of the device so that we could possibly even take it to build an app or in a different format than actually something where you touch buttons. And so yeah, I think you know, some of the work, we won't have to trash everything away. I think I mean, most of it should be actually really usable.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank much to all the team for your pitch. I suggest that we take 10 minutes break and then the jury will come back to deliberate and select the winning team. So to all the team, thank you again.
Thanks for the feedback. Hot mic.